Now we average between, I would say, like 500K to like 1 million impressions a week. In high school, I actually started a YouTube channel that got to 60K subscribers. We worked on that for like 3-ish years. It didn't end up working out, but we ended up learning from that experience that
In the middle of talking, he just like switches to the deepfake of the partner at the fun.
we need to change something. Otherwise, it's not worth continuing on this.
Hey everyone, I'm Naz. I'm the founder of Next.ai, the AI native CRM for AI native startups. And I'm here with Amanda, who's the co-founder of Recall.ai. And a lot of people know what Recall is, but before we even go there, who's Amanda? What's your story?
Thanks for having me, Naz. I'm Amanda. I'm the co-founder of Recall.ai, and my co-founder and I, we started Recall about 5 years ago, but it wasn't Recall back then. It was a company called Perfect Recall. It's a very long name. You should never call your company something with like more than 4 syllables because people constantly got it wrong. But it was a product to record and transcribe user research interviews. It was a user-facing product, and we worked on that for like 3-ish years. It didn't end up working out, but we ended up learning from that experience that building the recording infrastructure was really difficult. So that's when we pivoted to Recall.ai, which is the API layer for getting that meeting data, recording data.
But what is your story? Where do you come from? I think I hear a lot about Recall from you on LinkedIn, and everyone talks about it. But we haven't really heard a lot about what your story is and where you're coming from and where your life journey has been. Like, I'm really interested in knowing.
Sure, I'll share a bit about that. So I grew up in a small town in Canada called Richmond Hill. There isn't really like much around, it's like suburbs. And my co-founder and I actually grew up in the same town in Richmond Hill. But we didn't meet until college at the University of Waterloo. And we met after a math exam. So after we met, we became friends, and then we started a company together. We both dropped out of school to do this company. But if I go even a bit earlier, like before I went to college, before all of that, I was actually really into art. Like I wasn't one of those kids that, started programming at like 6 or something. I was actually drawing and painting. I actually
Like watercolor or?
like a lot of things, like watercolor, oil paint, like pencil sketch.
Oh, nice.
And in high school, I actually started a YouTube channel that got to 60K subscribers and had like a couple of videos over like 1 million views. But this wasn't like a video, like a YouTube channel with my face in it. It was an art YouTube channel. So it wouldn't have my face. It was just me like drawing stuff. And the channel's still around. I haven't posted in years, obviously, but that experience taught me that you can kind of, you can really you can put stuff out into the world, and if people like what they see, they will watch and they will like pay attention. And as a kid, it was just really interesting to see, like, I was just like creating like these videos in my bedroom, like drawing, and people would subscribe, people would comment, people would watch it. And I think that made me realize that you can kind of do anything, and it is just fully in your control on what you choose to do with your time and what you can put out into the world.
So a lot of artists becomes entrepreneurs.
Really?
Yeah, Steve Jobs, he knew calligraphy. He learned calligraphy. He used to do it. Yeah, he was more of a designer and artist anyways, and became a founder. I think, there's kind of a nick in artists to, found companies, tech companies specifically.
Yeah. I did study computer science and business in university, but, I haven't coded in several years.
So let's go back to like Perfect Recall. And one thing that I'm really curious to know is how did you guys go about the pivot? Because a pivot sounds really hard. Like, not even talking about externally or about investors, but first personally taking that step and making that decision can feel very hard. And like, how do you decide that, all right, we're going to do it now? This is why we're doing it, having that clarity, and then also being able to manage everything that happens after you take that decision. Wasn't it scary?
Yeah, it was really scary. So we went through YC with the product Perfect Recall. And we raised like a small amount at demo day, but it honestly wasn't very much. And then we ran the company like pretty like lean for like 2-3 years, and we were living in Waterloo, which is a pretty low cost of living place. It's like a town in Canada.
Yeah, compared to SF.
Yeah, it's like a college town. That's how we were able to survive and keep going, but growth was very, very slow. Like, it would be growing, but it was very, very slow. It was basically like flat. And like at some point we sort of just, David and I, my co-founder, like we took a look at each other and was like, this isn't this isn't really what we set out to do. Like, we need to do something. Like, if you're not growing, you're dying. Like,
Yeah.
we need to change something. Otherwise, it's it's not worth continuing on this. So we sat down, we had like a couple of ideas, we drew them out on like a whiteboard. There was like various different ideas. And then like none of these like ideas really made sense to us. And then we still continued chatting over the last like a couple of days. And then I asked David, like, do you really have no other ideas? Because David's very smart. I'm like, Phil, you still have something maybe in your back pocket. And David's like, yeah, I do have something, but I think it's a really bad idea, so I don't think we should do it. And that was the API to get the transcripts, recordings, metadata from all these different meeting platforms.
Yeah.
So we looked at it, we mapped out the market, we wrote down how many companies could buy this thing. There was like 50. And then, but the thing we did have is we knew the space very well.
Yeah.
Like, we had a lot of deep expertise in it. So we're balancing between, it doesn't seem like it's a big market. In fact, it's a really, really tiny market from what we can see. So should we still go for it? And the reason we went for it was, one, we had nothing to lose because there wasn't much to lose anyways.
Yeah.
And then two, there's some advice that we always got from our mentors, especially when you're really early stage, which is just build something people want. Like, it's better to build something that people really, really need for like very small group, like 10 people, instead of like something that could serve like billions of people, but like no one like really, really strongly needs it. So that's how we started working on Recall.ai. It worked out because even though the market was actually really small when we started, the thing is the market grew with us because LLMs came out at the same time. And then like every single software company suddenly wanted to work with this conversation data because it was possible. Because pre-LLMs, you couldn't really do much with it. So that's why no one was using it. But also, the other thing is not only did the market grow, now we can sort of like leapfrog and expand into other adjacent markets.
Yeah.
For example, not just meetings, but like conversations in person or over the phone, or, you know, storing and querying and analyzing this data. This wouldn't have been possible if we didn't start with like a beachhead small market, which was the meeting recording for all these different meeting platforms, which that market has grown.
It was great timing as well. Like, everyone suddenly realized that, oh, if I need to build any kind of AI workflow, I need the transcript.
Yes. Yeah. And what's also interesting though is now there's companies also using the video, like analyzing like what slides were shown on the screen and what were people's reactions and all of that.
Yeah. In fact, I met a startup yesterday, and I think your co-founder has been talking to them. But because of all of this, there's also a lot of deep fakes coming up on videos.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, these guys, they've built like a really good system to detect deep fakes. But what they have been doing in their VC calls is pretty interesting. And I showed me the video, and it was such a shocker, but it was so cool. So the guy's like talking, and he gets like one of the partners of the fund's deep fake. And so in the middle of talking, he just like switches to the deepfake of the partner at the fund, and then he switches back. And the VC in the front is like, whoa, what happened?
Like, it's spooky.
It is spooky, but he's like showing like this stuff happens like on video calls these days, right? So you have to like detect this. So those kind of problems are going to exist that are coming because this is now possible with LLMs, and this is now possible with what's AI doing.
Yeah. That's so interesting. And so there's companies that are helping you detect deep fakes, but there's also technology to build deep fakes and, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's fighting. It's like, there was like a controversy always. I don't believe it. It's like every antivirus company builds the most viruses.
That's really funny.
I don't think it was true. You can believe it.
Yeah. There's always it's like a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, for sure. But let's talk about LinkedIn. Because of course, your posts are fire on LinkedIn. Everyone believes that. I don't have to talk about everyone. Even Dharmesh went. Dharmesh of HubSpot goes onto your post and says, this is a perfect post. This is I love the structure, how you're doing it. He's a fan of your posts, and he's the guy who's known for great LinkedIn posts.
Yeah.
I would love to just dive into like, one, like, how did you get started on this LinkedIn journey? And what's your kind of like whole journey looks like when you're like thinking of a post, writing it, putting it out, and like, what's the goal of it? How does it convert?
I see. So we started last year in 2024, end of the year, like October, November-ish. And we started by interviewing our current customers, just asking them like where they are on the internet. Like, are they on Hacker News, Reddit, Twitter? Like, you know, well, LinkedIn came up a lot. Most people were at least on LinkedIn like once a day, if not like, you know, a couple times a week. And we sell to decision makers, like heads of product, heads of engineering. So typically the IC engineers are not on LinkedIn, but we don't sell to them. We don't really go bottoms
Yeah.
up. So because the decision makers are the people we sell to, they're on LinkedIn. So because LinkedIn kept popping up so much, we're like, let's try it and let's try to see if we can consistently get in front of the people that we want to get in front of since they're on this platform. So we did like a small experiment. We were going to run it for, I don't know, like a couple of months at
Hmm.
most, but we got results in 2 weeks. So the experiment was, let's like just put out posts every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and see if we can get like, I think it was like 200K impressions a week or something
Mm.
like that. Because like, I think we started, or 100K. I think our baseline was 50K impressions a week. So it's like, let's see if we can get to 100K impressions a week if we just be consistent. And we did in that first 2 weeks. So then we raised the number and we're like, let's see if we can get to 200K impressions a week. And then we did just by being consistent. And then we kept raising the number to like 500K a week. And now we average between, I would say, like 500K to like 1 million impressions a week.
That is amazing.
Thank you. But there's a lot of work behind it because at first we were just putting out like things that we were thinking would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like I would have ideas, my co-founder would have ideas, other people on the team might have ideas, and we just like write it up and like put it out there.
Yeah.
But then we noticed that the ideas kept congregating around like startup advice,
Yeah.
which people do get fatigued of after a while.
Yeah.
So we ended up realizing, hey, we can't just keep writing about startup advice. So now the process is we have specific content pillars. So it's like sales, which I know a lot about, like marketing, which I know a lot about, like fundraising. What else is there? There's a general startup advice, like there's these different content pillars, which all are different topics. So then we pick the content pillars we want for the next week. And then we sit down, myself and one of our marketers sits down and we just like write and like structure and see and give each other feedback
Mm.
to figure out, hey, this isn't a good idea for this pillar, or like, yeah, we should probably like change the wording. The hook is really weak.
Mm.
Because the hook is also like 80% of it.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
got to get people to click more.
Yes, quick see more. Yeah, I mean, that's high level, but any follow-up questions?
The biggest problem for
Mm.
LinkedIn for people has been the cold start,
Mm-mm.
right? And then how did you figure out like getting K in the first 2 weeks is very impressive. How did you figure out that cold start that, oh, we're just going to get like 50K impressions? Did you like did some growth hacking, reach out to people? Like, how did you like even make that happen?
I see. So we started first by just like posting, but not posting like random things. Like, for example, like how my day was or something. We tried to post things that we felt like if we read would be helpful. Because I also come across LinkedIn posts that I share with my co-founder. Like if I think it's like particularly insightful or something we were talking about the other day and someone else is writing about it, I will like click the share post button. So we wanted to see if we could put out things that would make other people click that share post button. And because we know ourselves the best, we're like, let's write things that we would have shared. Like
Mm.
if it was someone else that was early in the journey, if they saw this, it would be helpful to them. So that's sort of the framework we went off of for the cold start. So you do need to the prerequisite is you do need to know a lot about something. And hopefully that something is related to what your audience cares about. And then you write about that and then you try to package it in a way that is like interesting for like LinkedIn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I've seen that happen with like one of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the founder of Master Inbox. He went from like almost nothing to like 600,000 impressions in like
Yeah.
40 days.
Wow.
Uh, and I've seen like he's consistent like every
Yeah.
day, but also like went through like kind of followed a pattern. Like he figured out that I need to clean up my ICP base, like only have people on my LinkedIn as my ICP.
I see.
And all these posts take people to master inbox so that like people book meetings. But also like one thing that he keeps talking about, which I want to ask about you as
Yeah.
well, because I see you commenting more on LinkedIn as well, is that commenting is now the new posting. And he has kind of created this echo chamber of like
Yeah.
30 people that he goes and comments on their posts every day because he knows that these people reach out to the same people that he wants to reach out to. So like, oh, how are you doing that today?
Honestly, some of that is similar, which is like we have put together a spreadsheet of people that are relevant in the same space. It doesn't necessarily need to be people who are in the same, like selling to the same ICP as we are, because, and some of them are. Like, for example, if you're selling a developer product, like we sell to developers and like eng teams, some people are on those lists. But also, sometimes we will engage with like high profile customers because competitors will always look at, competitor pages. So it's like a way to see like can other people who are our prospects also like basically can our customers, their competitors see these and
Mm,
realize, okay, wait, if they're doing this, maybe we should do it too. So there's a mix,
yeah.
but I think it depends on your segment because we sell to a lot of different verticals. Like we sell to sales tech companies like healthcare, what is it, like incident response, legal, like hiring. There's like different like I would say people in each vertical as well. But then the other thing is commenting. Now LinkedIn, you can see the impressions you're commenting
Yeah,
on,
on the comments as
which
well.
which
Yeah.
is really helpful. And also whenever we see like a post pop off that's kind of relevant, like for example, OpenAI does a launch, then we will try to like get in on it just by commenting something. A lot of people will see the post, and a lot of people also then scroll and see the comments.
Yeah,
So
which
yeah,
is what I've also realized
yeah,
because nowadays what LinkedIn does is like kind of shows like top comments as well
yeah,
up there, kind of Reddit style.
yeah,
So I've also realized that if I find like the right kind of ICP reaching people
yeah,
and their posts have gone viral and I put something valuable in there,
yeah,
my comment has more impressions than my post would have.
yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's exactly what I've seen as well. So those are like three different buckets of commenting.
Yeah, got it.
Hmm.
And let's switch to because of course LinkedIn is not your only GTM
Yeah.
playbook. So
Okay.
let's run through what your day-to-day GTM playbook looks like. Like how do you
Mm,
go from like top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel today? What is
mm.
that whole process end to end today for you?
So it's very different than when we first started. When we first started, a lot of it for the top of funnel was cold outbound. That was the only way we could get in front of people. And now it's mostly inbound. So you want to talk about both or today?
Yeah, let's look at. So I would definitely interested in also going to that, so you can talk about it later as well,
Which one? Sorry.
which is how you like got to like a GTM market fit
Oh,
and
okay.
like what your process of like that learning was. So we could probably talk from like how you started
Okay.
doing it and then like how where you are right now and like
Okay.
why that like shift happened.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, let's start at the
Okay,
beginning.
cool. So it was cold emailing and it was just emails, but
Yeah.
this was also back in like 2022. So I think the cold email landscape has changed, but it was cold outreach. So you could replace the cold email with like cold LinkedIn messages or
Hmm.
even like calls or texts or something else today. And we just made a list. It was those 50 companies that like my co-founder and I listed out when we were deciding to pivot. We targeted those. So
Yeah.
we just emailed those people. I was the one that specifically was just like drafting like emails and just picking out, okay, these are the people that I want to email from this company. And we had a really good response rate. It was like the interest response rate was like 30 or 40%,
That's good.
which is like really good. But the big reason is because the list, like I think there's a lot of like tricks you can use nowadays with like you can mass outreach to way more, but I still believe that like if you just curate the list really well, you don't even need to have a very personalized email for someone to respond. So nowadays we also are doing some outbound now. Like it's relatively new, but the most of the time we spend is actually on the list building. Like 80% of the time, not on the
And how do you go about list building? Because that's one of the things
yeah.
that people really struggle with. Even if they like understand the ICP, they're like, okay, like who are the companies should be here?
Yeah.
And like who should I even email here? Like
Yeah.
it's really hard as a problem to start
Yeah.
off with.
Yeah, and there's that like cold start or chicken and egg problem because you need to have some level of expertise in who your buyer is.
Yeah.
But like let's say you know for sure this one company, like you have a pretty strong confidence that this specific one company would want it and these specific people, like for example, the VP of engineering would care. You can use that as like a seed list
Hmm.
and then give it to now we've been playing around with things. Like one is like you can ask OpenAI or like I'm sorry, ChatGPT or like Claude or something to like find lookalikes. You can use tools to find lookalikes. I think there's a couple of companies that do
Yeah.
that well.
I think Apollo as well does like
Yeah.
lookalikes. I've seen HubSpot starting to do lookalikes as well.
Yeah, so you can start with a seed list, but you have to start somewhere, and that somewhere for us has been like what we know about the space. And then there's more manual ways to find lookalikes, like you can always search like company name, competitor, and like
Hmm.
you just go through like lists of, results that come up on Google.
It gives you like similar companies that you could be
Yeah.
buying as well. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so let's say you got to the list building, you're probably building the list building on ChatGPT
Yeah.
or cloud, and then you went into outbound. Are you doing any kind of inbound as well at this point?
In the beginning?
Yeah.
In the beginning, no, we didn't have any inbound because we were like nobody knew about us. So it'd just be outbound, and then I would take the call, and we can go into sales specific as well if you want, but I'd take the sales call. Some would convert.
Yeah.
We actually had a specific thing we did with a trial, which made sure that we were only getting serious people. And then we got a customer, and then we'd repeat that. And I think I sold the first 2 million in founder-led sales, just like me. And it was like definitely a grind. But then after a while, you start realizing, okay, you know this so well, you can get someone else to do it. So then we brought on other people, our first sales rep, second sales rep, etc. And then we kind of got to now a critical mass where people already know about us, but also we're supplementing that with other channels like LinkedIn or like content marketing, which is another thing that we've built.
Got it. So that 0 to 2 million, when
Yeah.
you were doing that, what was the thing that worked out the most for you that probably you keep doing even today?
It was, I think learning to sell
Mm-hmm.
was really valuable because I did a couple of sales just like trying to do it myself, and it was a disaster and it was very cringy. But like I would say in general, learning to sell wasn't that difficult. It was just knowing where to start because I was never a salesperson, and so I didn't have any point of reference. So I was like trying to close people on the first call. What really helped was separating the discovery and the demo, and then also implementing sort of a gate at the trial before someone could even use it to make sure they're serious. So like for the discovery, it's literally just focused on understanding everything you can about them. And then if they're not a fit, you tell them, hey, you should probably look at these other options. Have you looked at that? And people actually really like that because they felt like we were being honest, and we were, that this just wasn't the right fit for them. And then they would actually sometimes tell me, actually, I did look at these options and here's why they were not a fit for me. So then I started to learn even more about why. And then the demo would be like customized to exactly what they asked for. So if they told me, I only care about transcripts and recordings, I would only show them that and I wouldn't show them anything else. But also in the demo, there would be like little tabs of the other features. I just wouldn't go through them. And then people would be curious themselves. They'd be like, they'd be satisfied. They got what they wanted, but now they want more. So they would tell me, hey, I want to see this. I want to see this. So it wasn't like a feature dump. And then by the end of it, if they actually wanted to buy, then we would have them go through a trial first.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I've got a few hot takes for you. I want to know what you think about them.
Okay.
But the first one is, you guys just raised a Series B, $38 million at what, $250 million valuation? Congratulations.
Thank you.
But the spicy thing is, what do you really think about VC money? Because, it comes with its pros and cons.
For sure. I think some people have had a bad time with their VCs, but we haven't. And I think the reason is to one, like pick the right partners that sit on your board and also maintain control of the company. Because, like if you have control of the company, then, you minimize like the risk of getting screwed over. But also like we take VC money because like the goal is for us to drive revenue and growth. So it's like risky money. The VC is giving us money so that like we can take a bet, so we can take a risk to build and drive that revenue growth. And I think if you pick the right partner, like both parties know it. And some VCs are like, be careful with the money, which is, I don't think is the right mentality. But the VCs that are like, this is a bet, and I believe in you guys, I think sometimes it can work out.
So what's your advice going to be like for founders who are running a VC process right now? For example, I was talking to this founder yesterday, and they're like completely stressed. They have like, I think like 50 VC meetings coming up. Like, we have never run this process. We don't know what they're going to ask. Should we tell our valuation? Tell our valuation? How should we approach it? Should we send a deck before, send a deck after? Like, there's so many things, and they haven't run a process before. And it becomes very stressful if you haven't done it. And so like, what would you like tell a new founder, like some of the most important tips when raising your first money, like how to do it and what you should be careful about and what you should be thinking about?
So I think it sounds like this person already has a lot of meetings lined up and hopefully lined up within a short time window. So they're already doing that right. But I think the most important thing is to like practice the pitch and practice like frequently asked questions. That's what helped a lot for us when we were raising our first money.
Mhm.
Like, my co-founder David literally had flashcards to, like, help, like, get him, like, used to answering questions and being able to answer them smoothly and in a way that was really clear. Now, because of so many, like, practice runs and, like, rounds, it's different, but in the beginning, that was what was really helpful.
Yeah, that's important. And
Yeah.
also, like, let's say, yeah, these guys got like 50 meetings because they were
Yeah.
part of like Berkeley Skydeck, and a
Oh,
lot of people are
nice.
now coming out of
Yeah.
that. But I'm also meeting these founders who are just like really struggling to get meetings.
Mhm.
And yeah, there are a few things which are problematic, when they say their pitch, I'm like, still don't understand what you're doing. So
Yeah.
some things to fix. But what was your like way of finding, okay, how do we get like the right VCs in the room, get
Yeah.
the most people signed up for like that 1 week? Because
Yeah.
you got to run a tight 1 to 2 week process.
Yeah, yeah. In the very beginning, so we had no network. We emailed founders that we didn't know. Like, we cold emailed other founders asking them how it was working, like how it was working with the investor. And you can find this information on Crunchbase, or, there's
Yeah.
other sources where people like list investors of a company. And you find companies that are within maybe the series seed A or maybe even B stage if you're raising a seed round, and you ask them how it was working with these investors. You don't ask for an intro. You get honest opinion from the founder on what the VC is like. Sometimes you hop on a call because the goal is to learn how that VC was, but also to pitch the founder that you are not a bum, so they are willing to
Yeah.
like make an intro. And that's how we got the intros. It was a lot of grinding. Like, we talked to probably over like, I don't know, 200 or even 300 founders to get the first like couple of intros.
So that's nice. For example, I asked
Yeah.
an intro from you,
Yeah.
and this is what worked for us as well, because I was running like a 3 week process.
Yeah.
And when we just closed like a small round, and I
Nice.
think we would have talked to like 20 or 30 investors
Yeah.
in the total round. But one funny thing was, and I'm not gonna name the VC, but this VC comes on the call with me, and they're like, "You guys either have a really good product, or you're running a very tight process, because
Mm.
2 VCs and 1 founder made an intro to that VC on the same day."
Oh my gosh. The same VC.
The same VC on the same
Yeah.
day. And so I think it's very important to find the right people. Don't pitch to the VC. Like, this is what I've learned is like, don't pitch to the VC, pitch to the people who know the VC. Because the VC loves warm intros. They don't like cold pitches.
Yeah.
Right. So if that person is convinced that you're a great company and they
Yeah.
give you a good testimonial, they're going to take the call.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's really true. And also, it also works to get multiple intros. Because I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it's worked for us. Like, sometimes the person gets one person talking about us.
Yeah.
They like, yeah, it's okay. And then someone else does, and someone else does, and they're like, oh wait, maybe I should talk to these people.
Yeah, we kind of like, we weren't doing it before, but we kind of did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Because when people are like, should I make an intro to this guy? And I know someone else is
Yeah.
also, and I'm like, sure, like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because it just like gives that validation of like, wow, these guys are like really good. And also, like, everyone starts talking about you
Yes.
all around. Like, when
Yeah.
you're running the process, you want every VC to be talking about you.
Yeah.
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 No, that's definitely great advice. And I have a few other hot takes
Yeah.
because you're on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
What do you think about, which really pisses me off, but maybe jealousy, what do you think about these LinkedIn influencers who are just doing fear mongering of like, AI is going to take away your jobs, and they have like 2,000 comments and like 2 million impressions on their post, and I'm like, you're adding no value to my life, but you're fear mongering right now. Like, I have no clue who are the people who are listening to you every day.
Yeah. I actually honestly don't care, because it's probably working for them.
Yeah.
But the reason why we would never do something like that is because, like, that's not the brand image we want to create.
Yeah.
But if they're running something in which that makes sense, right? They're running something that helps people that are worried about AI.
Yeah.
Then, like, honestly, I've cracked the code. So, and I don't see those things on my feed. So I guess that's why I don't care.
You got a positive feed.
Yeah.
But on the same line, and again, I'm not going to name the founders and people, but there are a lot of people who have just started doing this negative marketing. You know, the kind of people that I'm talking about. And they were like, either be like taking fights with like other companies, or they'll be shitting on like, oh yeah, like for example, Amper Market just had a thing where LinkedIn just took their company, not just the company page, because I was talking to Joel, or Joel, I think he calls it Joel. I was talking to him on LinkedIn. I was like, I can't find him in LinkedIn anymore. Because in my messaging now it shows up as a suspected person. And it's like, are you sure you want to talk to this person? I'm like, yeah, he's a legend founder. Like, what the heck is wrong with the LinkedIn? Yeah, but this happened. And then there's other founder, again, I'm not going to name him, just goes like, oh, look at that. These guys got taken down. See, we don't do this stuff. We play safe. I'm like, it's okay. Yeah, you do your stuff. But then why are you like shitting on these people? And you're creating enemies. And they're doing it for publicity. But like, have you come across people doing that to you? And like, what's your thought on that?
I don't, but also, I think weird things have happened, but they're not so weird. And I think for me, I just don't take it personally as well. Because like separating like the LinkedIn profile from like my identity has been very important. Like, you know, whatever people are saying is like don't take it personally. But also I agree, like I don't think you should kick people like if they're down. I also understand it because imagine if there was some big thing going on with OpenAI and it's really relevant. I could see founders that are in the AI space like jumping in because they're sort of capitalizing on that publicity. But I think there's a way to do it that's like tasteful. And I think it really just depends on the company and the person. And honestly, it's also for me, it's like a don't hate the player, hate the game kind of situation because that is, I think, what LinkedIn rewards sometimes. But for us, we've actually noticed sometimes when we were going too negative, we were like, wait, this is like getting too negative. We need to like, we need to stop talking about these negative things and we pull back. So it's something that we even like sometimes get into if you're not like paying close attention.
This is generally a thin line. So I will come from the world of comedy.
Yeah.
And we always talk about punching up in a joke versus punching down in a joke. And the room generally rewards you for punching up. And if you have like OpenAI or like Salesforce, like everyone's punching up to Salesforce.
I see.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's okay, but also, as you said, like in tasteful manner. Like if you're genuinely funny about what you're saying, but even Salesforce is going to be like, okay, we love to take that joke on us, right? But you can't just be like, straight up filthy. Right. So like, I think, definitely there's like a fine line between that. Last thing, YC or not YC?
I would definitely say YC. I don't think this is a hot take for me because we got a lot of value from being in the YC community, like not just during, but also afterwards, like the community, like the people being a YC founder, being part of the YC community comes with a like pre-vetted sort of like badge. So when you're talking to other founders that are also YC founders, you know, you take each other a little more seriously. And also it's like a curated community. I think there's a lot of noise. So this is.
Yeah, because like the reason why I asked this question is like one is that there is definitely a lot of dilution to happen when you go to YC.
Yeah.
And so for some founders, definitely not make sense because they've raised some funding, already diluted themselves. And also like with a lot of batches coming out, like to be honest, like I feel like a lot of YC companies have started looking very, very similar these days. Like either you're a wipe coding platform or like an AI SDR, AI GTM, AI workflow kind of thing. Like all of them kind of started looking the same. So I'm not sure if it's like YC is, I think it's a bit nuanced. Like, I think it's not for everyone, given their stage and given the kind of things that they're doing. But also, I agree that it's like an amazing community and you just get exclusive access to kind of people that you would not have if you hadn't been in there. Yeah. But thank you so much, Amanda. This was a great conversation in this park. We had fun and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right. See ya. Done.
Hopefully it did not overheat.
Yes, especially the sun.